You're watching African News 24 TV, and I'm Mary Adam. Here are stories we're tracking for you others are. The President, Bola Tinubu, has committed to establishing state police as part of efforts to tackle Nigeria's worsening insecurity. He was speaking at an interfaith breaking of fast with state governors and senior officials at the Presidential Banquet Hall in Abuja, where he promised that the plan would not be delayed. Tinubu also noted that the country has moved past economic uncertainty and urged citizens to remain hopeful about the nation's trajectory. Still on security, a United States congressional panel has submitted a report to the United States President Donald Trump alleging genocide in Nigeria, intensifying international scrutiny of the country's human rights records. The report, compiled after months of hearing and testimonies, accuses Nigerian authorities of failing to protect vulnerable communities from widespread violence. Lawmakers on the panel urged the Trump administration to consider stronger diplomatic measures, including sanctions and increased humanitarian support. The Nigerian government has consistently denied accusations of genocide, insisting that ongoing violence stems from terrorism, banditry, and communal clashes rather than state-sponsored actions. Into partisan politics, tensions have continued to rise following the recently concluded Federal Capital Territory election, as the African Democratic Congress candidate and members of the Obidients movement have rejected the announced result, alleging irregularities and manipulation. The ADC candidates accused electoral officials of failing to ensure transparency, insisting that the outcome did not reflect the will of the people. Supporters aligned with the Obedience movement echoed these concerns, calling for a review of the process and vowed to challenge the result through legal and political means. Meanwhile, in a separate development, a petition filed against Deputy Speaker Kalu has been dismissed by political observers as politically motivated. From Abuja to Ogun State, Southwest region, where the succession crisis surrounding the selection of Awujale of Ijebuland has taken a new turn, as members of the ruling house have appealed to President Bola Tinubu to intervene in the ongoing selection impasse. The royal stool, one of the most revered traditional institutions in Nigeria, has remained vacant following disagreements among kingmakers and ruling families over the rightful successor. The dispute has reportedly stalled the traditional process, creating tension within the Ijebu community. Representatives of the ruling house in a statement urged Tinubu to use his influence to ensure a fair and transparent resolution. They argued that the presidential intervention becomes necessary to prevent further division and preserve the cultural heritage of Ijebuland. And in business news, Nigeria's domestic debt profile has surged to 77 trillion naira following fresh borrowings by the federal government. New data from the Debt Management Office shows that the increase is largely driven by the issuance of treasury bills, FGN bonds, and other debt instruments aimed at financing budget deficits and ongoing government projects. The rise reflects the government's continued reliance on the domestic market to plug revenue shortfalls amid economic pressures, subsidy removals, and infrastructural funding needs. While domestic borrowing helps the government avoid excessive foreign exchange risks tied to external loans, it could also tighten liquidity in the local financial system and push interest rates higher. Power generation companies under the umbrella of Association of Power Generation Companies have rejected a proposed 2.8 trillion naira debt repayment deal from the Presidency. The GenCos are reportedly owed trillions of naira for electricity generated and supplied to the national grid, but not fully paid for. The debt has accumulated over the years due to liquidity challenges within the power sector. The rejection raises concerns about the stability of Nigeria's electricity supply chain, as GenCos have repeatedly warned that persistent non-payment could lead to shutdowns or reduced generation capacity. And in foreign news, a major storm has swept across the U.S. East Coast, dumping record-breaking snowfall that disrupted life for millions and led to thousands of flight cancellations. Parts of Rhode Island and Massachusetts received nearly 37 inches of snow, while New York City's Central Park recorded more than 19 inches, according to the National Weather Service. Authorities issued weather warnings stretching from North Carolina to northern Maine, with some extending into eastern Canada. The storm left over 600,000 homes and businesses without power, and the Boston Globe said it will not print its Tuesday edition for the first time in its 153-year history due to the blizzard. Travel restrictions were imposed across the region, with non-essential travel banned in Rhode Island, Connecticut, and later Massachusetts, as officials warned of dangerous whiteout conditions. In other news, a helicopter belonging to the Iranian Army's Air Force has crashed into a fruit market in the central province of Isfahan, killing 4 people. According to state media, the victims included a pilot, co-pilot, and 2 fruit vendors on the ground. News agency reports attributed the crash to a technical malfunction. The incident occurred in the city of Khomeini Shah, and sanctions-hit Iran has faced several air disasters in recent years, with authorities citing difficulties in acquiring spare parts to maintain its aging fleet. And still within the region, Pakistan's security forces have launched a major counter-terrorism operation in Balochistan, targeting militant hideouts in the restive southwestern province. The operation aims to dismantle terrorist networks responsible for recent attacks on civilians and security personnel. Officials report that several militants have been neutralized, while weapons and explosives were recovered during raids in the area. The operation involves coordinated efforts by the army, paramilitary forces, and local police. The Balochistan government emphasized that the campaign is part of a broader strategy to restore peace and stability in the province, which has faced ongoing separatist and extremist threats over the years. Security forces have urged residents to remain vigilant and cooperate with authorities. Welcome to sports. Benjamin Sesko has cut off the bench again to save Manchester United from a drab stalemate at Everton, extending their unbeaten run to 10 games and moving Michael Carrick's side back into the 4th place in the Premier League. The 22-year-old Slovenian striker finished off a sleek counter in the second half to net his 3rd goal off the bench, having done the same against Fulham and West Ham last time out, becoming the only player to score more as a substitute in the Premier League this season. The victory lifted United into the Premier League's top 4, 3 points clear of Liverpool and Chelsea in the battle for a place in the next season's Champions League. Now from soccer to sprint. Favour Ashe, one of Nigeria's brightest sprinter prospects, has officially switched allegiance to Qatar. Ashe, who clocked a personal best of 9.94 seconds in the 100 meters, making him Nigeria's 7th fastest man in history, revealed that he has been training in Doha for the past 5 months. He cited poor treatment, inadequate facilities, and lack of support from Nigerian sports authorities as reasons for his decision. The 21-year-old sprinter is expected to bolster Qatar's 4x100 meters relay team ahead of upcoming international competitions. And welcome to entertainment. Controversial singer Portable has turned down a 50 million naira offer to fight streamer Qatar Ashe in a proposed boxing match, describing the amount as too small. Music executive So introduced the challenge during a live stream session, and Qatar Ashe quickly accepted, urging that the match be arranged. Portable, however, demanded more. He insisted on receiving the 50 million naira prize money alongside a luxury car worth 300 million naira, bringing the total to 350 million naira before he would agree to step into the ring. Expressing confidence in his fighting skills, the singer referenced his previous celebrity bouts, stating that he had defeated Charles Okocha and Speed Darlington. And finally, Nollywood actress Nkechi Blessing has cautioned fans against secretly recording her and her partner during public outings. The actress recounted how a woman allegedly filmed them at a restaurant without their consent. She said a waitress alerted her to the situation, after which she approached the woman and expressed her displeasure. Nkechi explained that while she appreciates fans who request photos or videos politely, she finds covert recordings disrespectful, especially because her partner prefers to stay out of the public eye. She emphasized that she deliberately keeps her relationship private and will decide if and when to share it online. And that's where we leave it for now. For continuous coverage and breaking updates, please head to africanews24.ng and connect with us across all our social media platforms. I'm ADIM. Thank you for watching. Good afternoon.